Alright, what is going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. As you can see, I'm not hanging out in my house today. I am outside touching grass, and I will be doing the Koko Head Crater Trail. It's pretty fairly easy hike, nothing too hard, but I'm filming this video kind of in a different style, kind of going to do it as a vlog, just to, you know, break things up a bit, make them a bit more interesting. Kind of gotten tired of, you know, sitting in my living room filming content all day, and, you know, being that I live in Hawaii, this is a really beautiful place. It's nice to get out in nature every now and then and just enjoy what nature actually has to offer. I don't know if you guys can hear in the background, but there's guns going off because right next to the hiking trail there is a shooting range, which I don't go to that often. I'm not really a fan of their rules, but, you know, if you're one of those dudes that has a nice rifle, likes to take their stuff out and stretch the legs of their weapon, then it's a good place to go.
I kept saying to myself after the class, I go.
But one of the reasons I'm filming this today is because I actually got a new watch. I got the new white dial Explorer 2, the reference 226570. So I thought it would be fun to take this watch out on a hike with me and actually put some, you know, put it through its paces, I guess, because I've talked ad nauseum about this watch on the channel before, specifically the black dial variant. And I feel like you can only do that so many times before it just gets extremely boring. So today I'm just going to, like, try and break it up a bit, do something different, like actually show this watch, I guess, in its natural environment, quote unquote, and use it for its intended purpose. So that is what we're doing today. I have a feeling that this hike is also going to be a freaking smoker too, because I haven't even started the trail yet. I'm just walking right now, and I'm already out of breath. So this may suck, but using the magic of editing, I'll make myself look awesome. There's definitely people using ARs and high velocity rifle rounds today. There's also people shooting at a very high rate of speed, so it sounds like they're doing some sort of shooting competition over there. I know that at the range they have competitions on a weekly basis every Saturday. Thought about doing competition before, but I don't think I'm ready for that from a training standpoint. Then again, at the same time, nobody ever really is ready for their first shooting competition. It's kind of just something you have to do. You just have to jump into it in a safe way, obviously, but you have to jump into it prepared as you can be, and then go from there, and then learn along the way. The only way to get better at it is to actually do it, so it comes with anything, really. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm already smoked. But this is the start of the trail, I think. I think this is the start. Looks like there's people coming away from it. I've been working out a lot in the gym lately, trying to do a lot of heavy weightlifting and then some running as well. Not as much as I probably should have been doing, but still running. still putting miles on the road, but there's nothing that's really a good substitute for a nice weighted hike, you know, especially when that hike is all uphill and you're pretty much lunging up the entire way. So just so you guys can see, this is what it looks like trying to get to the top of that hill. We'll see how it goes. Here we go. Again, this is basically just doing straight lunges for a mile non-stop.
Oh, across that shoulder. Spidey.
Not trying to break any records here, just have a good leg workout, get some good cardio in, especially after yesterday. We had a PME, and after the PME concluded, we went to a couple bars and we had a lot of wine. I know I've talked on the channel before about not overdoing it on the drinking, but what's going on? I definitely did not follow my own advice yesterday, so kind of feeling it right now. And yeah, I'm less than 2 minutes into this hike. I'm already smoked. But you guys are going to see it anyway. These glasses are falling off my face. They're getting annoying. But you know, regarding the Explorer 2, I actually had to sell off my previous one due to some unexpected financial difficulties. It is what it is. It happened. And like other watches that I have sold in the past, I did not really walk away from that experience having made a profit. So, to me, it became a point of pride to get this watch back in whatever form I could. When I was here. Pretty smoked already. And people are looking at me. Just have my camera up. Yeah, I'm feeling it. Watch is ticking though, which is nice. So I'm sorry for the lighting. Going up this hill, you are facing away from the sun, which makes it harder to get good lighting. I have it's further out to go, but these are pretty nice. Take a quick break. My heart rate's at 170 right now. I'm wearing my Garmin as well. I don't know if you guys can see that, but my heart rate is 170. Pretty high. Pretty dead right now. The fact that I'm wearing a pack with some stuff in it does not make it easier one bit.
Yo dije 500 veces.
Saque era. Oye, ¿sí tú ayuda? Eso. ¿Qué tipo de saque?
Yo tenía 16,5.
Caramba.
Y era más fuerte que los cositos chiquitos.
Yo al final ayer sí estaba un poco en pedo,
Sí, pasa que tomaste.
pero me di cuenta después.
Ahí en el boliche.
O sea, en realidad me di cuenta hoy cuando me desperté.
Alright, let's continue. I'm feeling slightly less exhausted now. A buddy of mine actually suggested that I do this vlog with the Explorer 2, and to his credit, his name is Tommy, so Tommy's credit, I agree with the sentiment. I think it's a great idea to, you know, throw on a pack, get out there, put some miles in, get fit, and earn the right to wear this watch. What's going on?
Beautiful, isn't it?
It is. Already smoked again. Already smoked again. Definitely need to get my hiking ability up. Not being able to hike is a bad thing. In the Marine Corps, you should be able to hike at about a 16-minute per mile pace with a 45-pound pack. That should be fairly doable for anybody. Granted, that doesn't take into account the incline of the terrain that you're hiking on, or any factors like that. But it's important to have that ability to carry around weight on your body for a sustained amount of time. Not being able to do that, not being able to lug your weight or possibly somebody else's if they fall out, could put you and your team in a detrimental position. But yeah, back to the Explorer 2. So I sold the Explorer 2 in about October of last year. I'm talking about the blacked out version, by the way. I sold the Explorer 2 in about October of last year in order to cover some unexpected expenses that came up. Do I regret my decision? No, not at all. I needed to do that. But again, after I said goodbye to that piece, it became a bit of a source of pride to me to get that back, because it was my first Rolex. It was my first serious watch that I was like really proud to be an owner of. Never wanted to take that off the wrist, but I did what had to be done to, you know, avoid financial ruin, I guess. So got out of the hole, one less watch in the watch box, and move forward from there. But over the holidays, I was visiting the AD. I was visiting the AD over in Beverly Hills, or no, at Century City in California, and I walked into an AD there and saw that they had the white dial on display, and most of the time I had kind of ignored it, not paid too much attention to it, but something about it this time really like stuck out to me. Something about that watch when I tried it on the wrist really made me want it. So I had already had the intention of getting back on the list for it at some point, but I did not think that I would ask for it so soon. Granted, I was in a place of financial stability again, and I could afford it, so I didn't really have any scruples or any guilt about asking for it. So I texted my ID back here in Honolulu, and I requested that watch. That was in late December of 2024 during the holidays. Then, about a month and a half later or so, I get the call from my authorized dealer, and they offered me the white dial. I had originally requested either the black or the white dial. Didn't really care as long as I could have my Explorer 2 back. But she offered me the white dial, which I guess if you care about investment potential, then that's the better choice. But for me, white or black, would have went with either. Would have said yes to either. So I got the call for the white dial, and I accepted it. And in mid-February, I picked it up and took it with me to a business trip over in North Carolina. Wore it every day there, got to know it again. And the nice thing about buying that watch back, it's time to keep walking. The nice thing about buying that watch back was having it on the wrist again, knowing that you can bounce back from anything. And two, it just felt very at home on my wrist. Coming up to a bit of a dangerous part here. Not so sure I want to traverse it this time. The bridge is very dangerous. As you can see, there is nothing below these rails. So we're going to be smart here, especially because I'm filming. We're going to take an alternate pathway. We're not going to be stupid here. Not trying to fall off and die or any of that. Just going to be smart about this, take a different route. If one route doesn't work, it's not always the best idea to brute force it. I'm talking about like life in general here. Sometimes the smartest thing you can do is know when your strategy is failing you and pivot, and not getting too emotionally attached to one strategy or another. If you're trying to become a business owner and your business plan is not working, but you're dead set on achieving that goal, then maybe, short of completely giving up your dream, you need to look at what you're doing wrong, look at what's not working, and figure out an alternative solution. We're making slow progress, boys. We're making slow progress, but we're getting there. We'll get to the top. I had a lot of wine yesterday, so I knew I was going to be a little bit hungover doing any sort of physical activity. But at the same time, yesterday was my rest day, and I try to stick to a consistent schedule of training, physical training. That way I don't let any standards slip. Because as far as I'm concerned, I have a lot of room for improvement. I wouldn't necessarily say that fitness-wise I'm satisfied with the progress I've made. In fact, I would say quite the opposite. Even though I'm proud of myself, there's a lot further to go. There's a lot more I could do. And sometimes you really just have to buckle down, shut down all excuses, and push, which is what we're here to do today. Albeit, we're pushing very fucking slowly. Alright, oh shit. I nearly slipped and fell. Alright, taking another break, just for safety. Fucking smoked. I'm smoked. It's a nice watch shot. As Watches of Espionage says, use your tools. Use your tools. There are no safe queens in this watch box. Alright. Quick pause. Now we resume. Probably going to go another 5 steps though before I have to take another break. I'll say though, not making too bad of time. This fucking sucks. This hurts a lot. Still have about halfway to go. Only about halfway up. Yeah, we have all that way to go. And my legs are already dead. This is not the hardest hike on the island, by the way. I'm not doing any sort of performative misery. I'm not trying to act like this is the hardest thing in Hawaii to do. I'm just being real with you guys. I'm fucking exhausted. Really exhausted. My legs are absolutely on fire. What's going on? Another break. This is much harder. This is even harder when you're talking all the way up and you're using a camera. Alright, it's at 177. Alright, it's at 177. I feel like I just got done doing sprints for an equal amount of time. So far I've been going for about 25 minutes. Some people run up this thing, it's crazy. Some people like take this thing and they just freaking sprint up it. And to those people, I only have one thing to say. What is your secret? What is your secret? I want to know. Because this is tough. For me, at least. Maybe there's some of you out there who are looking at me right now and thinking, man, Morgan, you're freaking slow. And to you, I'd say, yeah, you're right. I am slow today. Super slow. And this incline is only getting steeper. As you can see, if I just try and point the camera at my legs, you can see how much I have to lunge to get up these tracks. I'm going to stop talking for a bit and edit out this part because I'm really, really freaking tired. It's time for another rest. Took maybe about 20 or 30 steps since I said I was going to pause it. Here's the view. Here's Hawaii Kai, and the view out to Honolulu. I am so freaking tired. It's been way too long since I've done this hike. Way too long. Way too long since I've really hiked in general. I think the last time I did anything with a ruck on was January of this year. And those were like forced ruck marches because we were doing a course, moving around in full kit, throwing rucks on our backs, moving with those. Those were tough too. Those are really tough. I'm not gonna lie. Again, it just goes to show, like, if you're not consistent with this, you'll never really make any notable or significant progress. Nevertheless, I'm gonna get to the top one way or another. Well, there's only one way to the top. That's to fucking climb. There's definitely a shooting competition happening down at the range because Koko Head does not allow rates of fire that quick on their standard shooting base. So there's 100% a competition going on today. Wonder if anybody down there I know is competing.
YouTube channel, you have one?
Yeah. It's if you type in Morgan Weibel, my name,
Weibel.
WEIBEL, you'll find me. It's mainly like watch focused, gun focused.
You got 2.19 thousand subscribers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, man.
Sick.
Appreciate it. Appreciate the subscribe.
Yeah.
Have a good day, brother. Fuck. Need another break. I am so dead. This hike is much harder than I remember it being. And it freaking sucks. My legs are on fire. I can barely move them. Every step, my heart rate goes up more and more. So fucking dead. I'm so glad I put on sunscreen because it is so sunny out. It is so harsh. There is no shade on this trail except for the sidelines where I'm stopping. So it is very easy to get sunburned here. I'm taking another break because, fuck man, this is tough. But on the bright side, I'm almost at the top. Made it quite far. Almost there. All right. Need to take a break here. There is some more stuff to go, but this is one of the stopping points. So I'm going to take a few minutes to rest here, talk about watches and whatnot, and we'll continue on with the subject of this video. I need some water as well.
I'll see you later. Love you.
Oh my god, that wind feels so fucking good. It feels good, but the hot wood handles do not. As you can see, this is the view so far. The shooting range is over there. And Honolulu and Hawaii Kai are over here, this way. So, Rolex Explorer 2, back to that. I got the call. I wore it with me through North Carolina during a business trip, and I haven't worn it since I got back from that trip at the end of February. So I thought today would be a good day to take it out. And how I came to replace this watch, besides from what I already discussed, is, I think, noteworthy as well, really. I was on the list for the GMT Master 2, the Pepsi, for a few months. Hadn't gotten the call yet. Wasn't expecting to get it anytime soon. The overall secondary market price of that watch, if you want to use that as an indication of its rarity and its value, is quite high. That's still a hard watch to get, both at retail and on the secondary market, because for one thing, Rolex does not make a lot of Pepsis to begin with. They haven't discontinued it. I don't think they're gonna discontinue it at any point. However, they just make very few of them, and that drives the secondary market prices well past their actual value. Because at the end of the day, it's another stainless steel sports watch from Rolex. Granted, it's one of the best and the most famous, in my opinion. However, it is very hard to get in general, and very hard to make. Now, that's not really the reason why I took myself off the list for that in exchange for the Explorer 2. Initially, I had myself on the list both for either the Jubilee or the Oyster bracelet variant of the Pepsi. I decided that the Jubilee bracelet was not to my taste. I'd kind of outgrown wearing them. I had a watch with a 5-link bracelet before, and I wanted something different. I wanted an Oyster bracelet instead, so I took myself off the list for the Jubilee, and I stayed on the list for that. And then shortly after selling off my black Explorer 2, I came to the realization that I had spent so much time with that watch. I had made so many fond memories wearing it that it was hard to see myself wearing any other watch, regardless of its desirability, its price, both at retail and aftermarket. The GMT Master 2 Pepsi felt like it was going to be a bit more of a vanity buy for me than anything significant. And I know I'm kind of like waxing poetic about these watches. Like, they're just watches at the end of the day, but this is also a channel where I talk about watches, so that is just the nature of the beast. For me, the Explorer 2 had always been my watch. It was always the one that resonated with me the most, and it was the one that was the most special to me, even though in the beginning it was never my grail. I never thought I would own an Explorer 2. I never thought I would want one. But when I first got my hands on one, it was kind of love at first sight, really. And then I got my Datejust, and then I got my Submariner, and so on and so forth, right? But the Explorer 2 has always held a special place in my heart, and I don't think I'll ever want... I can't really say that, but the Explorer 2 is just a really meaningful watch to me, is what I'm trying to say. And a lot of people have nicknamed the White Dial Explorer 2 the Polar Bear, the Polar Explorer. To me, that name doesn't really signify much. It's kind of just another one of those nerdy nicknames that people give their watches. But if I could add one to the list, I would call mine like the Ghost or the Apparition, or something like of that nature, right? Because losing that Black Dial Explorer 2, having to sell that and give that up out of necessity, not because I'd grown tired of it, not because I didn't want it anymore. I did, you know? It felt very much like losing a part of me that mattered a lot, and I was extremely intent on getting that back. So I saved up, I worked very hard to put the money into my bank account in order to afford that watch again. And when I got the call, I jumped at the opportunity, and I didn't waste a moment. And here it is, again, for you guys. It's beautiful, in my opinion. I think it's one of the most beautiful tool watches / sports watches that Rolex makes. The white dial just pops. It is easy to read. It's extremely functional with the larger case diameter at 42 millimeters and the black indices and black hands. And the orange 24-hour hand is just useful as both an AM PM indicator and a GMT indicator, which is what I use it for. I prefer I think I prefer to use it as a GMT. My girlfriend lives in a different time zone, and I track that time zone that she's in using this complication. So for me, it's just one of the best watches for me. It's not super loud. It's not attracting so much attention that I'd be worried about it getting stolen or getting my wrist hacked off for it. Granted, that's still a possibility, right? But, you know, it's not as likely as it is with some other pieces. It's just the perfect balance for me between a statement piece and something under the radar, underappreciated, something undervalued by the masses. Excuse me. Because to me, in my opinion, this watch really doesn't get as much love as it deserves, especially if you compare it to the GMT Master 2. It's got the same movement, same capabilities. It's just finished differently. It's styled differently. Its original purpose was different. It's not as sexy. Like, there's nothing, when you really compare it, right? This watch was designed for speleologists, cave explorers, and, scientists. There is nothing really as sexy about that compared to being an airline pilot. I mean, if we're being real here, being an airline pilot is just way cooler than being a speleologist. Most people don't even know what a speleologist is. However, the ruggedness of the Explorer 2, the more like brutality. Sorry, excuse me, I can't talk. More brutal, like, no nonsense design coupled with the functionality of it just speaks to me in a way that the GMT Master 2 does not. And that's why I love the Explorer 2. So, with that being said, I'm going to take a quick break, and then I'll try to get to the very top of this mountain. And I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright, and we're back. I'm no longer freaking smoked, and I'm ready to continue this hike. So, here we go. So, I've talked a lot about the Explorer 2 in general, but that watch is kind of old news if we're being real here. You know, I believe that watch was re-released around, or I believe that watch was updated like around the 2010s or so, or maybe like 2021. Not exactly sure, I can't remember, but next month in April is going to be Watches and Wonders, and it's not really that far away. It's currently March 15th, I think. So Watches and Wonders is really not that far away. There's still a lot of time, or there's not much time left before Rolex makes its new releases for the year. So there's people up towards the top. I really only have this amount of steps left to go, so could see what's up at the top. I don't really think there's much here. Just more views. Yeah, the views here are nice. What's up, guys?
You streaming?
Yeah, well, recording a YouTube video. Yeah.
I thought you were an IRL streamer.
No.
I haven't seen one in person yet.
I've been waiting, trust me. Yeah.
Unless you're already big on YouTube.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't say I'm that big.
What's your YouTube channel?
It's called Worn Down Crown, or you can search up my name, Morgan Weibel. It's Weibel. Yeah, Morgan Weibel.
W-I?
E-I.
What is this?
Bravo Echo Lima. There you go. Yep, that's me.
Yeah, I got you on the support. I'll subscribe.
Oh yeah, thanks dudes.
Yeah.
Whiskey Echo. That's it.
Old school, you do so like gun.
Yeah, I do
gun
some.
tube.
Yeah, basically. Definitely no fucking grand thumb or administrative results, but you know, I'm making my way there. We'll see.
Hey, they'll come over here for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm keeping the culture alive here in Hawaii. You know?
Sounds good.
Yeah. If you guys ever want to like go shooting, check out X-Ring Security.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, but hey,
Yeah.
thank you.
Appreciate it, guys. Later. Ooh, fuck. Fucking got that on camera too. You guys catch that? Yeah, I fucking nearly died there. Exactly. Yeah, I nearly fucking died there. Thank God I'm not dead. That would have been fucking embarrassing. Anyway, I have no idea what this is. I think this is like the base of a pillbox or something. But whatever used to be here is no longer here, so yeah. Just some concrete slabs, really. But yeah, what was I saying? I was talking about Watches and Wonders. Rolex is going to be releasing some new stuff at Watches and Wonders very, very soon. And there have already been some like purported leaks, quote unquote. I don't think any of them are legit, but that's just my personal opinion, and I'm going purely based off of feeling here, not any circumstantial or factual evidence. The thing is, really, nobody has any idea what Rolex is actually going to release until Watches and Wonders actually happens. Not even the ADs. If you go into your AD right now and you ask them, like, what do you think Rolex is going to release this year? They'll tell you they have no fucking clue. They have no idea. And they don't, truthfully. They don't get that information from Rolex. They don't have access to that level of information. That kind of thing is kept very, very secret at Rolex until that information, or until the days of Watches and Wonders. So, I mean, people have predicted some freaking crazy things in the past. Like I think last year people were predicting that the new freaking, or I think people were predicting that the Milgauss was going to get re-released, even though it was discontinued in 2023. Like, why would think about this rationally, right? Why would Rolex re-release a watch that they just took out of circulation only a year ago? Now, people have speculated in the past that they were going to update it, right? But then if they were going to update it, why would they not just go forward with that update to begin with, instead of trying to, take it off the market and then re-release it later on the next year? Like, not enough time has passed in between its discontinuation and its re-release to, be significant. I think it's probably going to be, at least in my personal opinion, I would guess that it's probably going to be at least another 5 to 6 years minimum before we ever see the Milgauss again, possibly even longer. As far as some of the other predictions have gone, I don't think many people have made predictions about the Milgauss specifically, but as far as other watches from Rolex go, specifically, there have been rumors about updates to the Datejust line, getting some solid gold variants. And I think that would be really cool, right? But my only issue with that is that if they were to do that and release something in solid gold, what you would see is watches like that coming into competition with the Datejust. This is like kind of nerve-wracking right now because I'm walking on these rails and nothing underneath the rails. Granted, it's not really that hard of a fall, but there's nothing underneath these rails, and these wood planks are quite creaky. I'm gonna have to do this while holding up the camera. So I feel like a release such as that would come into competition with the day date. It would be taking away attention from the day date, which is one of their flagship models, and
these are wider than back there.
what you would end up with is I guess what you would end up with is less interest in the day date, which is not really something that I think Rolex is aiming for. I think they want as much interest in the day date as possible. The day date is and always has been one of Rolex's like most important, like significant pieces that they make. So it doesn't make sense for me, in my mind, why they would release something that takes attention off of it, you know. Another one of the predictions have been some like another one of the predictions have been some updates to the GMT Master 2, specifically regarding like color variations and whatnot. And in my opinion, I think that that is slightly more plausible. I think that is slightly more likely to happen. Mainly because the GMT Master 2 line has not really seen any like major updates. There have been a couple additions in the past couple years, like the VTNR, which is the green and black dialed bezel, or the green and black colored bezel, as well as the GRNR, which is the gray and black bezel variation with the green GMT hand. I think it's likely that we'll probably see another addition to the GMT Master line, and something else to bring some more like interest to that catalog, or to that portion of the catalog. But there was a render that was released recently of a green and black dialed, or sorry, a green dialed VTNR. So green and black bezel with a green dial. That's something that would be a major departure from what Rolex has usually done. As far as I know, and as far as I can remember, most of the GMT Master 2 models are all black dialed variations, with the exception of two Pepsis in white gold, one with a blue dial and one with a meteorite dial. Which I don't even know if that one is still being sold. I'd have to look at Rolex's website, but that would be a very, very far cry from what Rolex has been doing. And I think that, I don't know if Rolex is going to do that. I don't know if they're going to like make a change like that. One, because it's just a dial color change. It's not really that drastic. There's nothing, it's not that, I don't think there's anything about it that's significant enough to stand on its own, to garner enough attention. And moreover, it, in my opinion at least, it doesn't really look that good to begin with. I don't think that the people at Rolex would design something like that. They designed the VTNR for a reason. They designed it with that color combination in mind, and I don't see, just like with the Datejust and the day date, you know, I don't see why they would introduce something to the catalog that so easily conflicts with the current model. And lastly, there's also the Land Dweller as well. I'm going to keep walking. There have been rumors of a new watch entirely, possibly being released. And I really don't think this is a valid prediction at all. But there's rumors of a watch known as the Land Dweller. Now, Rolex does have a patent for this name, the Land Dweller. But I don't necessarily believe that that is proof that they'll be releasing a watch like that at any point this year. I don't see them doing that. I don't think that the current render of it really makes sense, because if you look at watches like the Sea Dweller, what is the Sea Dweller? The Sea Dweller is basically a highly beefed up version of the Submariner. It's got a larger case, it's got a higher depth rating, and there are some very slight cosmetic changes to it. But overall, it is just a larger, more beefed up version of the Submariner. There's nothing really too different about it. It's just, you can see where you can see what the Sea Dweller is paying homage to. As far as the Sky Dweller is concerned, the Sky Dweller is an annual calendar, and as some of my friends, namely Kurt, likes to call it, it is sometimes referred to as like a Datejust on steroids, because again, it's an annual calendar. The Datejust is just a Datejust. The Datejust only tells you hours, minutes, seconds, and the date. The Sky Dweller is an annual calendar, so it tells you what month it is, tells you the date, all of that jazz. Pretty cool watch, pretty awesome, and it has that second time zone functionality. I tell you, going down these steps is extremely hard on the knees. Someone with not so good knees, this freaking sucks. Almost as bad as going up this hill. And I have all this way down to go. This is gonna suck. At least I'm not panting. But yeah, what would a Land Dweller have any association with? Like, what watch in Rolex's catalog would the Land Dweller be associated with? Adrian Barker has suggested the possibility that a Land Dweller might be a derivative of the Explorer lineup, either the Explorer 1 or 2. This is obviously just conjecture. There's no solid evidence that this is actually going to be a thing. But his this notion that he's proposing does make a little bit of sense. If a Land Dweller were to be released, maybe it would be a derivative version of the Explorer, which was again a watch designed for mountain climbers and speleologists, land-based activities, obviously. So in my mind, that kind of makes sense. But what would it really look like? The render that's currently floating around the internet. Shoot. Sorry, guys.
It's okay. Take your time.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. We're all gonna be in the same boat.
Yeah, there was a smoker for me coming up too. I was out of breath completely. You ladies take care.
You too.
Anyway, the Land Dweller, right? If it looked like the Explorer, how would it be different? The photos that are circulating around online right now, or the renders that are circulating around, make it look like a jazzed up, like stylized version of the Explorer 1. The Explorer 1 in both the 36 and 40 millimeter version is time only, glossy black dial with geometric indices and 369 numerals. What's up? The version that is floating around on the internet looks like that. It has those same characteristics, but the dial design is geometric, and it has a geometric dial design with a repeating pattern on it, and it has a case design and a bracelet and an integrated bracelet design, which is very reminiscent of the old oyster quartz models that were being sold by Rolex in the late 20th century. I don't remember the approximate decade, but I can look that up for you guys later on. But the current rendering does look like the oyster quartz variants that were being sold. Personally, I don't see how these modifications are significant in any way. I don't see how it makes sense for them to be included on the Land Dweller, or on a watch called the Land Dweller. Like, you have to remember that the Explorer and the Explorer 2 are tool watches. They had functional purposes back when they were first released. And so I don't see how making the watch quartz, giving it an integrated bracelet, styling up the dial with a different design that is purely cosmetic, I don't see how that stuff adds to the functionality or enhances the functionality in any way when you compare it to something like the Explorer. This is all assuming that a Land Dweller, if it were to be released, is even a derivative of the Explorer line. It could not be. There's a high possibility that it won't be at all if it gets released, and that's a big if. So really, this is all conjecture. None of this is substantive. None of it really means much. And we're just going to have to wait and see what happens at Watches and Wonders.
Thanks.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm not smoked, but my knees really, really hurt. It's the force of each step is going straight into my knees, and it sucks. Additionally, another potential Rolex release we might see would be a new line of Daytonas, or rather a new set of Daytonas. One of which was the possibility of there being a green dialed yellow gold Daytona on an Oyster Flex bracelet. A lot of people have said that this is likely, of the pictures that have been floating around online right now, of all the stuff that people are predicting Rolex is going to release, this is most likely what they would actually release. The Daytona, even though it necessarily wasn't always this way, it is currently one of the most desirable and hard to get watches that Rolex sells. You have to be allocated. Oh my gosh, nearly slipped on that. You have to wait a long time to get an allocation for a Daytona. And a solid gold Daytona on an Oyster Flex strap in yellow gold with a green dial, I think, is most likely to be released by Rolex this year, because that is currently not something that is being filled in the catalog. It currently doesn't exist in the catalog, and there's a lot of other watches from Rolex that take that color scheme. Like, for example, the Day-Date. The Day-Date has a yellow gold green dialed variant to it in 40 millimeters. I think if we see any of these predictions come true this year, that is likely the one that will actually be accurate. Aside from that, can't really guarantee, well, I can't guarantee anything, but aside from that, it's really just a crapshoot as to what Rolex is going to release this year. I think that we're just going to have to wait and see, because as Oshin O'Malley says, Rolex is not in the business of giving people what they want. That is not what they do. The company gives us the things that we didn't know we wanted. They take a lot of time and effort to design these things, and when they come out, when they get released, usually, like, they're just completely unexpected. Take the titanium Yachtmaster, for example. As far as I can recall, I don't think anyone saw that watch coming. I don't think anyone predicted that watch. But when it came out, it was a smash hit, and it still is. And people are like trampling each other for that thing. Good luck getting one at retail if you don't have a purchase history. It's not going to happen for you. Alright, I'm taking the side path again because I'm back on the unsafe part of the bridge. So we're taking the safe way. Not trying to lose my life, just for some content. You guys can make fun of me all you want, but that's not going to change what I'm doing. At the end of the day, I'm just trying to make it down this thing with all my bones and my joints intact. That's what matters to me more than anything. And the shade is so nice here. Oh my gosh. This is probably the first time in the entire video you guys have seen my face clearly, because the entire time I've been filming the sun has been in my face. So yeah, nice to see you all. This is going to take a lot of editing when I get back home today. I am so ready to just take a shower and crawl back into bed and not move for the next 15 hours. My God. Ugh. Okay. Well, the decline rather has graduated out a lot more, so I don't have to feel like, or I don't have to be scared of possibly tumbling down this rather tall mountain. As you can see, we were all the way at the top just a few minutes ago, and now we are about halfway down. I don't know if you guys noticed, I pointed it out earlier, but I've been timing this whole thing on my Garmin as well. So this is normally how I like to wear my watches. I wear a Garmin on the inside of my right wrist, and then whatever quartz or mechanical watch that I choose to wear that day will obviously go on my non-dominant side. And it's kind of just there to look good. Like, it was a completely personal choice. Like a completely style-driven and ego-driven choice to wear this watch today, knowing full well the risks of wearing something as expensive as this during an activity such as this, where I could trip, I could fall flat on my face, as you guys saw earlier at the top of the mountain. I could fall flat on my face, I could fall off the side of the hillside. Not that that's really gonna a danger here, but you guys get the point. You know, hiking isn't the safest thing to do. And there's no reason to wear one of these now when we have these. But you wear what you like. Every now and then it's nice to take your watches out and put them through their paces and see like what they can really do. I think that brings a lot of joy to like actually the hobby of collecting watches, because you know, when you just wear your stuff day in and day out, or maybe if you're not even wearing it, if you're like keeping it in the safe and you're treating it like a safe queen, that can get kind of boring pretty quickly. I personally don't enjoy that. I don't get any enjoyment out of not wearing my watches, because they're watches. They're meant to be worn. When you spend the amount of money that you do on them, you should be excited to put it on every day and want to wear it. You shouldn't have to have that fear of like, oh my god, what if I get a scratch on it? Whatever, dude, it's a watch. Who cares? Like, it's just a watch. It's gonna get scratched. It's gonna happen. It's inevitable. That's just the way these things go. It is the nature of the beast, per se, to get scratches on your watches, and more so even for watches that are like tool watches, right? Like, if your watch at one point was considered a tool watch, and I use air quotes because I use that term very loosely now, then there's really no reason to baby that watch. Like, it was meant to be worn. It was meant to be used hard. And there are documented cases of people taking their very expensive tool watches out and like really beating the crap out of those things beyond the point of what any layman might consider to be sane or smart. But when you think about it, this hobby in its entirety is completely insane in general. I mean, you're paying money to purchase a product that is significantly outdated in terms of its technology and its performance and its capabilities. Because at the end of the day, this is nowhere near as accurate as this is. This gets its time from a GPS, it gets its time from atomic time. So it will never be inaccurate, right? There's no need to adjust it. It just automatically adjusts on its own depending on where in the world you are. This has a accuracy of plus or minus 2 seconds a day. If you don't wear it for a certain time, you have to rewind it. And so on and so forth. There's a million other reasons why this is, like, from a technical standpoint, inferior to this. But there's no need to break that down. I think it's pretty obvious why smartwatches are worn by so many people nowadays, and why some people consider smartwatches to be like an existential threat to like the traditional watch industry, because technology is just completely outdated. It's completely irrelevant today. In my opinion, everything about like the current watch hobby, all the decisions that we make about what we want, what we're going to buy, are mostly emotionally based. And that was kind of the point that I was trying to make when I was at the top of Koko Head just now, with, you know, why I wanted the Explorer 2, why I chose to get rid or take myself off the list for the Pepsi and opt for this instead, even though the Pepsi is more desirable. Like, for me, it was a very personal, emotional decision where logic was not being taken into account. There was no logic there to speak of. The logical thing to do would have been to just continue saving my money, you know, and just moved on from the watch entirely. But I use the words like a point of pride and an ego-driven decision very carefully, because that's exactly what it was. It was a matter of personal pride. That watch, again, felt like a part of me. And it was a part of me that I did not want to say goodbye to. It was a part of me that I did not want to give up. And the idea of attaching memories to an inanimate object like a timepiece is a purely mental construct. It's a purely mental construct that we create in our imaginations. It is not anything tangible, and its only significance really is to the person who devises that mental construct to begin with, i.e. myself. Like, it doesn't matter to anybody else except for me. So in terms of logic and collecting watches, there is very little to be found. I've spoken about this before in other videos, but I think one of the only situations in which it is truly logical and more practical to have... Ooh, it's nearly slipped again.
Be safe. I was going to the side.
Yeah.
Be careful.
Will do. I think one of the only reasons that it would be logical or practical to get a traditional mechanical watch over something like a smartwatch would be if you work in a classified space, like a skiff or something, where smartwatches are just not allowed, where you're not authorized to have them in there, and the process to take one in there is not really worth going through. There's just, at that point, if you work in that type of environment and you work in that field where your job requires that of you to be able to track the time and do so in a manner with equipment that does not broadcast a signal, then maybe a watch, a traditional mechanical watch or a quartz watch would be the smart choice to make, because those can't be tracked, right? But even then, if you go into any classified space, there's typically clocks in there displaying multiple time zones. So even then, if you work in that environment, you probably don't need a watch. Watches are a personal hobby. It's all about what you like, how it makes you feel, what kind of emotions it stirs up in you. One watch might be better than another in certain ways, right? Specifications wise, quality wise. But at the end of the day, if that watch doesn't really make you feel something inside, if you don't have any sort of emotional attachment, or that watch doesn't stir up something emotional within you, then in my opinion, there's no reason to buy it now, because that's the thing that matters more than anything. I talk a lot on this channel about what the best tactical watches are, what makes one watch better than another, why certain watches are overvalued or undervalued or X, Y, and Z, right? But the thing that matters most is how you feel about whatever watch it is that you have or that you want. If you're the kind of person who grew up with a Seiko SKX 007 on their wrist, and that's the only watch you've ever loved, and then somebody comes to you and says, hey, I'll give you a Rolex Submariner if you trade me your SKX. You really have to think whether or not that Rolex Submariner would be a good replacement. If you took that trade, would you miss that SKX if you had spent the past 2 or 3 decades or so making memories with that watch, hanging out with friends and your buddies, maybe getting married in it, meeting your first girlfriend, whatever, going through college with it on your wrist? Imagine all the memories that you'd be giving up. Or you guys get what I'm trying to say, right? Imagine saying goodbye to all that for just a different name on the dial. That's not a trade I'd be willing to make. That's one reason why I still keep my my Fossil watch around. I don't wear it anymore because it's pretty much dead, and it's not really worth it to service it. But I keep that watch with me in my place because I spent the first 7 or so years of my career with that watch on my wrist, and I had so many like ups and downs in life with that timepiece that to give that up would feel like losing a huge part of myself. Same way that having to give up that Explorer 2 was a huge blow to me. It just wouldn't feel right. And I don't even think that Fossil makes that thing anymore. I don't think Fossil makes that particular model anymore, so if for some reason I did give it up, not that I will, and not that it would make any sense to, if that watch went away, it would be nearly impossible to replace. I don't know where I would get another one. So, yeah. I've pretty much made it to the bottom.
45 minutes, or it's not also not like 4 hours when you know. So that's Hulu. That's a good one.
Alright, made it to the bottom. Finally off of this trail. My knees and my legs are really going to be hurting tomorrow. And I need to get out of this shrubbery because I can already feel myself getting attacked by mosquitoes. And mosquitoes like me for a lot for some reason. They like to drink a lot of my blood. And I hate mosquito bites. They just itch constantly. They're the worst. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this blog. Definitely went off on a lot of tangents. Hope it wasn't too boring for you. If you made it to the end, consider subscribing. Consider liking and subscribing. Commenting down below what the hell you think Rolex is going to release this year at Watches and Wonders. If you're looking forward to anything, if you would like to see anything, and let me know what you think of this style of content. If you want to see more vlogs like this, or if this is just totally boring to you and I should stick to, I don't know, sitting in my living room pretending to be a gun tuber. Either way, I appreciate you guys for watching. I appreciate all of your support, especially to my new subscribers. Thank you for joining me. And I hope you all have an amazing weekend. Take care. I'll see you soon.